understanding the importance of the port, the importance of what happened, the supply chain, et cetera, jobs, how the global economy will be impacted, but yet also understanding the dynamic with Republicans and Democrats, and also understanding right now that we're in this anti-woke, anti-DEI, Black governor, Black mayor, and DEI mayor situation. I asked Pete Buttigieg, how will they get Republicans to work with them when it comes to this, understanding the dynamic that's out here? And he said, it's a bipartisan infrastructure deal. It might have been bipartisan then, but it seems far from bipartisan now. What do you say about this?
I think about when I was leading soldiers in combat. My background is not in politics. My background is I'm an Army guy. I joined the Army when I was 17 years old. I led paratroopers in combat. And I think about the fact that, when we had something to do, when we had a mission, in all my time, in all my years in the military, and all my time overseas deployed, do you know a question I never once asked my soldiers?
What?
What's your political party? It never came up. We had one job, one goal, one mission. That's how we had to lead that entire time. And the thing that I'm asking for these individuals who are going to have a vote, for these individuals who are going to help to control the destiny of our nation's economy, for these individuals who need to remember that we've got workers and first responders who are looking to them right now and need their support, for these families who we have got to provide a sense of closure to because they are living a nightmare. I would ask them, do not allow this to delve into some partisan conversation or a partisan vote. Take the same type of frame of, it doesn't matter. What matters right now is that there are people who put you in office who are relying on you to lead. And I'm thinking about what's happening right now in the state of Maryland is we have led now this coalition of local elected officials, federal delegation, who are all our General Assembly, who are all in lockstep. And by the way, that's Democrats and Republicans. We've got our entire federal delegation, Democrats and Republicans, who are all moving along the same lines. I'm just asking that our Congress can follow that same type of example and really move with a sense of urgency that the people of this country are really asking them to right now.
How concerned are you, though, that this is not moving because of the nasty names and personal attacks now? Race has been brought into it. DEI is nothing but the new construct from CRT or anti-woke, right? This is an anti-affirmative action era, and some people are thinking this is about affirmative action. Is this that?
No, I want people to come down here and see what I'm seeing every day. I want people to come down here and see a port and see what it looks like to have a ship that is the size of football fields, that's sitting there and blocking an entry point to one of the largest economic growth engines for our entire country. I want them to see what it looks like to have an iconic bridge, a bridge that really highlights a skyline that is now sitting there with thousands of tons inside the water and thousands of tons that's sitting on top of that bridge. I want people to come here and spend some time with the ILA workers and our dock workers like I did yesterday and hear them talk about how DEI is responsible for this and hear the response that they're going to get from those poor workers. I want them to understand what it's like for us on the ground, because if you understand what it's like for us on the ground, you will understand that all the foolishness that is finding its way into this conversation, it needs to stop, it needs to end, and it needs to be gone for good.
One last question. I talked to Mark Morial, the national head of the Urban League, yesterday. He's wanting to pull a plan together that reminds me of the Obama Foundation. 51% of the Obama Foundation is being built by minority contractors, and 100% of the athletic center is by minority contractors. Baltimore is 61% Black. And he wants to have the contracting, the rebuild, minority or majority of it minority. What do you say to that? Have you talked to him about his plan?
Yes, and so when I think about the work that we've done in the state already, where, even just coming on board, I said, we need to make sure that we have not just an administration that looks like the state of Maryland and the beautiful mosaic of the state of Maryland. And we've done that. We have the most diverse administration in the history of not just the state of Maryland, but also the most diverse administration in this country. But also saying that how we are doing government procurement also is going to matter in all that. Where in our first year, as I serve as chair of the Board of Public Works, and which deals out all government contracting. And just in our first year, we increased our allocation going towards MBEs to $1.4 billion, which was a historic increase where we know that if you're really going to have a focus on being able to do things like addressing a racial wealth gap and being able to address real parity, not just in income, but in wealth within our communities, it takes a measure of intentionality. And I think this rebuild needs to be the same exact type of thing, especially when it's going to be state and federal dollars that are going to be the ones who are helping to underwrite this work. And so keeping a very clear eye on ensuring that our MBEs, our WEs, our veteran-owned businesses, that they are getting a fair and representative portion of these contracts that are billing out is going to be something important that we're going to continue working on together with folks like the Urban League.
All right. Is there anything else that you would like to add in this moment, sir, before the president comes and you're walking with him? What are you going to say to him as you're with the president for hours at a time, assessing this tragic and historic moment?
I would say leadership matters. And I think that the president's leadership in this has been stellar. I've always been of this opinion that you don't learn much about anybody in times of ease, because in times of ease, they can show you whatever they want to show you. You learn everything you ever need to know about somebody when it gets tough, when the heat gets turned up, when the pressure's put on them. Do they shrink? Do they wither? Or do they actually get stronger? And I'm so grateful that we have a president who is not just been by us every step of the way, but now a president who, again, days after this has happened, is saying, I want boots on ground. I got to see it. I want him to see that even the momentum that we have had in this time, it could not have happened without the support of this White House, that we know we have a long road to go. And this is going to be a long road that we are going to get done. I tell people, do not bet against Maryland. We're going to get this done.